Hey, what's up with it, man? Y'all tune back in to topics with Mr. T now. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, YouTube, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Okay, we're going to address this Mob James being a rat situation. Now, it's been coming out recently that Mob James is a rat. Anybody been following this know that people been saying this about him, you know what I mean? But nobody really never confronted him, or whoever the person he was supposed to rat it on never came out till now. Now, this person is a OG Pyru member from Cross Atlantic Pyru in Compton. Okay, so roughly now this situation, like damn near 20 years old, because dude did 10 years for it, and they say he been out like 7.5, 8 years. You know what I mean? But, I guess dudes get old to try to change their life. They don't come home on just trying to get back on the bull. You know what I mean? So that's probably the only reason I can say he just ain't try to blast Mob before this. And then, a lot of them dudes, old OG dudes, don't be with this internet. But anyway, so recently, dude then came out himself, and he been doing interviews now. Up to this point, he ain't touched on it. He doing interviews with Street TV with Alex Alonso, formerly known as Street Gangs. Yeah, TV on YouTube. Shout out to him. But he doing an interview now. For anybody that know, Alex and James got a little beef, so I think that this kind of strategic, because nobody ever got an interview from this dude. But all of a sudden, since everybody since they hit the internet and came out, Alex then dropped the interview with dude. But anyway, okay, so the situation supposed to stem back to, like I said, roughly 20 years ago. It's unclear to me how James supposed to got in cahoots with the feds, because they never said if he caught a charge or anything. I don't know how he got in cahoots with the feds, but they just dropped some pictures of the feds taking pictures of Dude and James, well, who's allegedly Mob James, and they got a couple different angle shots. Now I couldn't understand if Mob James' name was in the paperwork. On the picture they got him as CI, which is confidential informant, and then they got Dude, which is, FG. And in the paperwork, they got the how much work he was selling, what he was meeting, the informant at, what he was charging them. They got all this in the paperwork. But like I said, it's not clear to me if Mob James' name was in the paperwork. But people really going off what Dude saying, like, man, you gonna tell me I don't know who I met, what I sold to, and then on top of that, me and James got relationships from years. You probably saying it don't look like James because the picture is roughly 20 years old, but I know who I was doing business with, and I know who I took pictures with. And I mean, not who I took pictures with, but if somebody was to take a picture with you from 20 years back, 9 times out of 10, if they don't know who in the picture, you will be able to look at the picture and say, oh yeah, that's such and such, So I understand them on that, you know what I mean? But he didn't came out and he been saying, man, I ain't got no reason to lie. So people asking him, well, FG, after all these years, why you just now, providing this information, just coming out and standing on the sand. And he was like, because, well, no, he didn't say it. Reggie Wright said that he think FG coming out with this because one day, Mob James mentioned him on Bomb First. That's somebody else. That's Reggie White and John channel, Bomb First on YouTube. Y'all should check them out too. So, he said that he was that Mob James supposed to brought dude name up one time, I guess in a negative manner, and they just kind of triggered dude to come on out with it. So he under a lot of pressure. But as always with every other situation, Wack 100, he been speaking on it on Clubhouse and everything. And then they had a good ass live that was on Born First the other night with him and James was talking to each other. And I ain't gonna lie, Reggie kind of did some crazy stuff because he had James on there and then he called up Wack. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it was a surprise guest, I don't know, but he let Wack know that James was gonna be on there, but he didn't let James know that Wack was gonna be on there. So, you know, Wack confronted him saying that he, you know, he a rat and all this, but I will get Wack one thing. Now, I've been watching Born First for a few years now. And like a year and a half ago, when nobody was on this topic, I'm watching they live one night and Wack told Mob James, at first they weren't even talking about it, but out the blue, Wack like, yeah, homie, you know, you a OG Pyru, but you got some stuff that you need to clear up too because your name ain't right no more either. You know, and so they kind of had a back and forth about that, you know, but James was denying it, you know, and Wack was saying he know for sure. He, like he said, he know the dude that he told on, everybody saying it, and supposedly Tim and Rue, which is Mob James and Big Buntry, he in between Mob James, he the middle brother. But he supposedly don't mess with Mob James too because they say James tried to get him 20 years in jail and that he know he was a rat. So it's all kind of people that don't mess with James. On top of him, see, when the whole thing went down with Buntry, it was a lot of power infighting, you know, and he felt like a lot of dudes was playing both sides, a lot of dudes wasn't loyal, and they really kind of left Buntry out there, you know, bad, and ain't nobody slide for him after, you know, ain't nobody slide for his brother after, you know, the man got killed. So he denounced his hood. He been going on Vlad, going on all these other podcasts saying that he ain't Mob Pyru. He don't even like to be called Mob James. He don't mess with the hood, blase, blase, all this. And another person that been saying Mob James is a rat too is Trayvon Lane. But yeah, so, man, it is kind of crazy, you know, but from what I see, it don't really look right for Mob James. It look like something ain't right. And the other night on the live, when he kind of confronted with him, I ain't gonna lie, Mob James got kind of choked up. But I can't say that was because of that, you know. Not choked up like he was from the cry, but like choked up like he didn't really know what to say. And but anybody know, man, Wack gonna talk over people and all this, you know. And so Dude FG came on Clubhouse and, you know, like I said, he was saying the same thing. Like, man, the dude ratted on me. I know who ratted on me, you know. But I think Mob James' name ain't in the paperwork. You know, I think his name not in the paperwork for whatever reason. But, you know, they be keeping confidential informants low key some kind of way. They just put their name in CI, you know, and people have to figure it out. Because I done had a couple partners that it went through there too. And as a matter of fact, it was kind of conflicting stories to what dude that was getting blamed for was saying the same thing. Like, that wasn't me. And my homie was like, you was with me this day. We was in the car this day. Like, I know, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so another thing is, K9 was on that live that night too, and him and Wack was getting into it. For anybody that don't know K9, K9 is a death row artist. Suge signed him. He was signed to him for like a year. He got but he had caught a case in Vegas, and he had to end up getting locked up. So about time he did his time and got out, that you know, death row's no more. But I've been talking to him. You know, I got in contact with him. You know, I asked him when he come on to do an interview because they were saying that he was supposed to be a snitch too and all this. And so I asked him to come on, clear